Alright. What's up, everybody? Let's go. We got a big series here that's come highly recommended to me. It's Onside Gaming Solar. In the bottom left side of the map. Up in the top right side, we've got none other than Psystorm's GUMIHO. I'm freshly back from Japan. By the way, this is the very first series I'm casting on my first stream back from holiday. And it's kind of fantastic because I've come back and I've been looking through all the weekly cups, all the online tournaments and things that have been going while I'm gone. And it turns out there have been a lot of crazy hard-fought matches. My recommendations, my little Google form has been filled with people's suggestions on matches to catch up on when I got back. And this was right near the top of the list. So this is the EPT North American Week 169 Grand Final. So I believe that was just from this past week gone by from when I'm casting it. And meant to be a very fun series, which is interesting to me because without knowing the results and without, I'm kind of just trusting people's recommendations as I get back here. Solar dominates GUMIHO. Solar is literally the big problem for GUMIHO. I always say that like GUMIHO would already have had such a great return from the military if it wasn't for Solar. Kind of the same way Classic got blocked by Zest a lot in PvP, and more recently Maru and a few of the other Terran players in PvT. It's been Solar just destroying GUMIHO's mech that's been the problem. I feel like their series are always close matches, close scoreline, but it's always decided by the fact that Solar always figures out when GUMIHO's going mech. GUMIHO goes mech always at least once in a best of 3, usually twice in a best of 5. And Solar always scouts it, figures out what's happening, and then just kills him, usually with a queen drop roach bust, sometimes with some other sort of surprise maneuver. But essentially, Solar just makes it look like the mech builds can't defend anything. Like, they look so weak. And obviously, it's a massive all-in, which Solar would only go to if he thinks it's going mech, but it is what it is. Anyway, guys, gonna have to react quickly here as GUMIHO raise the depot, rally the Reaper to the inside, but command center first, factory to wall off, a perfect opening. Super greedy opening for GUMIHO versus super aggressive opening for Solar. This is an amazing start for GUMIHO. He's gonna get a Zergling. And interesting that Solar chose to do this. Now, I think it's because Solar probably expected like low ground barracks wall off or something like that. And to basically get in and both get on top of the barracks as well as deny a bunch of mining, maybe even kill the command center or cancel it. But he doesn't get any of that. And as a result, he's delayed his third hatchery. It's only just gone down. He's obviously down on the workers already this early. And a very good start for GUMIHO. That being said, it's altitude. And a good start doesn't really mean much, does it? It really doesn't do all that much. Now, GUMIHO accidentally built a tech lab on the barracks. Oh no, guys, that's completely a mistake. He meant to build a reactor, and he's accidentally built a tech lab. Now I say accidental. I should probably be careful with that commentary. First game commentating since I'm back, and I'm like, Pig, you're commentating GUMIHO. His builds are weird, man. So I can't 100% say it's a mistake, but the fact that he started a Hellion before queuing the Cyclone did indeed make it look that way. His barracks is going to float out, and he's going to... Okay, so it looks like he's planning to use the barracks and the Cyclone to clean up the Overlord, and he's already planning to try and deny the scouting. But wait. Okay, yeah, I was like, why would the Starport go in the reactor? That doesn't make sense. No, he's swapping into Hellion Banshee production in the follow-up. So the Banshees keep you safe while you take that third command center. Hellions can roam them out. Big problem, guys. If Solar figures out that he's doing super fast 3 command center into Hellion Banshee, what are Hellion Banshees not beat? The exact same build I was talking about. Queen drop plus just a big shove of roaches, ravagers, and zerglings. And that is... this is the thing, is this is GUMIHO's best mech opening, is variations of this 3 command center build. And having shown a Cyclone this early, I mean, it might make it obvious to Solar that you're going to play mech. He's already dropping a roach warren. I wouldn't be surprised to see a few more gases go down, put back on this gas. He's still droning pretty hard for now, is Solar. First few Hellions and a Reaper coming on forwards. Looks like the Zergling did spot that on the left watchtower. Queens are in position. A few more gases have gone down. He's finally back on mining gas in the main, only after 4 minutes. Talk about an efficient, mineral-focused opening. Absolutely delicious. Second and third factory go down, of course, for Gumi. He's got 1 Banshee out, which is, I guess, snaking its way through the middle of the map. Here comes the Zergling to confirm that it is indeed mech. Cyclone sees that there's Hellion still building, does Solar, guys. But he needs a lair in order to do the Dropper Lord. He's only on 50 drones. He's building a few more Zerglings, a few more drones. Going to 7 queens. He's building an 8th queen. And roaches are starting. Only a few roaches for now. If he builds drones, then he's playing a normal macro game, most likely. If he builds more roaches, then it means he's going all in. 2 more drones do start up and an Overlord for Solar. More drones again. Okay, looks like Solar wants to play a macro game. Very interesting. He doesn't seem to have that read. And I mean, GUMIHO is such a sneaky guy. He's very likely to do something weird, like open a Cyclone just to deny your scouting and then go bio play after some Hellions and Banshees. Banshee didn't do any damage, of course. It got pushed back. Magfield and Blue Flame are on the way. So GUMIHO really wants to be heavy on the Cyclones and the Hellions. He's also going for a 4th factory on the tech lab, and he'll be building a reactor or swapping this factory onto the Starport's reactor over there. So it's all going to be about the mobility and the economy. GUMIHO does need to set the rally point on that 3rd base. You can see he fixes it right there. Dropping mules, he's got 54 workers, and I would expect Mr. GUMIHO to go armor upgrades only with this armory because he's so Cyclone focused, and their attack does not rely on damage upgrades, or at least the lock-on aspect doesn't. The what is it called? It's just called lock-on, guys. It doesn't have a fancy name. But I'd expect him to build a 4th command center on location very soon, because keeping up your economy pretty close to even, or even ahead of the Zerg, is usually a key part of using this more mobile but less efficient composition of battle mech. Don't get me wrong, Hellion Cyclone can be pretty damn efficient if you're just able to kite non-stop, but there's usually a point where you get caught and you lose a crazy amount of value very quickly to the very cheap Zerg units. That's a big problem. +1 melee, +1 range, so good anti-mech upgrades. Overlord speed's on the way, though I think that's just for scouting, as more drones, Infestation Pit, and that 4th base are coming up for Solar. Solar never really rushes the 4th base. I always find that, you know, it's interesting because, like, Europeans like to rush the 4th, and Dark likes to try to get a greedy 4th up a lot of the time if he thinks he can get away with it. But Solar, similar to, like, Zest in the past, just these players are like 4th bases, no. They always see it as a bit of a risky investment to rush for it. They're always much more like, no, let's play rock solid and leave no openings. But as we talk about leaving no openings, that Spore Crawl is not done just yet. And grabbing 4 drones, very nice. GUMIHO will just pull on out of there. Where's that 4th command center? There it is. Didn't build on a location, interestingly enough. He didn't want it to be open as Zergling run bys. And a very heavy Cyclone force moving down the left side. Only 2 Hellions there. You got to be careful. If you don't have enough Hellions, you can get surrounded by Zerglings. You got to be careful with that ratio of units. So he's got Hellion Banshee on the right, Cyclone Hellion on the left side. Armor upgrades on the way in that top left. Bit of a supply block. Depots are building out front that 3rd base, which creates a nice defensive wall. Also means if you lose control of that 3rd base, though, you lose so much value in those supply depots. So really need to hold on to that 3rd base with no siege tanks and nothing but 2 Banshees to defend Zerg aggression. It feels to me like Solar has survived the scariest part of the game, and I wonder what GUMIHO can do to pick apart a player who's got lots of roaches, Zerglings that can start turning into banelings, and those 3 infestors, which is so important with fungal growth. It's not ready just yet, but it will be in a little bit. Cyclone lock-ons take out a bunch of these roaches. Remember, it's the new Magfield. It doesn't kill roaches quite as quickly as it used to. The Hellbat's morphing in front, but not really doing that much except for tanking. The actual attacks really didn't achieve that much. The Cyclone's just standing and fighting, though. GUMIHO's going to man mode his way through this army. Banshee's rotated down this side. They're picking off drones at the same time. Cyclones are coming forward. There is some fungal growth energy ticking over in 1 second. And there we go. Fungal's available. But what units is there to capitalize on it? The Queens are going down. The Cyclone's having a little bit of a party. Banshees rotate into the natural. If they can get to this left side of the mineral line away from the Spore, they're going to do some very good damage, and that's exactly what he does. More mining time being lost for a Zerg Solar that's already in a nasty position. 4th base going up into an orbital command center behind it. A Raven starts up, a legendary idea, making sure he won't have to keep scanning quite as much. There's no mobile anti-air for his opponent. The Banshees look like they got a couple of drones in the main base as well. Really bad position to be in for Solar right now. Does he have Burrow? He doesn't. He's looking for the fungal flanky, though, and that can get you back in the game for sure. Pulls the trigger on the left side a little bit early. Does get a fungal. It's not the game-ending fungal, but that's a juicy. Oh, that's a big juicy. Very nice moves by Solar, and he's going to kill most of those Cyclones. Really well done. Look at that supply gap start to disappear for GUMIHO. These 2 Cyclones running in, they're dying as Zerglings as well. You've got to be careful. As I said, Cyclone armies, they're really efficient until the moment they're not. The moment you do get caught, they are so slow to rebuild and so incredibly expensive. But he's got +2 armor on the way. 5th command center is building as well. And he's going for Hyperflight Rotors, so he's preparing his Banshee swap behind this, which is really nice. Stops the Ravager Baneling from ever really attacking off creep without some sort of mobile anti-air. Makes it much harder for the Zerg to have the correct army composition. Vipers aren't really going to stop the Banshees on their own. You can parasitic bomb them and pepper them down, But you're going to need a little bit of salt with that pepper to make sure they actually get finished off, as of course GUMIHO splits are going to be fantastic. We've got Zerglings, drones being added in as well. 83 workers still trying to get up towards 100. No hive? No, there is a hive. Just for the Vipers, though. He's just going to play Ravager, Lingbane, Infester, Viper, which, you know what? That actually makes perfect sense. Because it's all about having enough Lingbane, Roach, Ravager to defend the Hellion Cyclone. And then use the Blinding Clouds of Ducks to deal with the Siege Tanks that are now coming out. Problem is always going to be the Banshees, though. If there's like, if you can get up to like 6 Banshees as GUMIHO, if you just don't stop building those, I think he's going to have a very scary position. He's already got a lot of bases, but how is he going to take that fight to his opponent? He builds a second armory, a Ghost Academy, and 2 more barracks starting up. GUMIHO will prepare the late game Ghost Mech swap. Blue Flame Hellbat will die in that side of the map, but Hellion's going to run by on the left side. The drones quickly get out of there. Nice evacuation. Hellbats are just going to try and dive on top of this base. More Hellions coming. It's roasting time. It's toasting time. And the Cyclone Hellion's going to take out those Spine Crawlers pretty quickly. Not actually killing the hatchery. He doesn't want to get caught. He knows there's creep behind his army. So you can see GUMIHO, he wants more damage, but he doesn't want to throw this army away. So he's going to back off. 10 drones is pretty good. He's got the Raven, so I wouldn't mind him trying to move to the right side, but he doesn't know where the Infestors are. So he's got to be very careful of that fungal. 7 siege tanks are out. 4 more on the way. +3 vehicle armor, +1 weapons, as well as, of course, ghost armor coming on in there. And let's see, fungal parasitic bomb maybe. It looks like a parasitic bomb goes down. The Banshee tries to, of course, get the Infestor. Does go down, but forces a fungal out as well. And tanks are now sieged here across this gap. Cyclone Hellion controlling space pretty well. You don't want to attack here. Solar, what are you doing? Solar attacking around a corner in the worst possible position. I cannot believe he's pushing into this area. That made no sense. He knew there were siege tanks on the right side. To attack around a corner, I often call this a killing zone, right? Because the units will clump here, here, here. They're all going to be squished up. If he moved out to the left side and then tried to move through the choke point, maybe, just maybe, that would have made sense. But that was a really poor decision by Solar. Maybe this Banshee harassing in the back, putting a little bit of pressure on him, forcing him to make a bit of a mistake there. Siege tanks going to try and pull back the Hellions. Oh, there's not many Hellions in here. Zergling's very effective right now. GUMIHO with a big doo-doo. But wait, does he just have so many units it doesn't even matter? He says big doo-doo, doo-doo on you. And Solar taking some big tank shots from the tank on the right. Still a pretty efficient trade for Solar, I would say, compared to what it could have been. That Banshee overhead, though, definitely dishing out the hurt. Going to take out 1 or 2 Ravagers on the way home as well. Cyclones are here as well. Oh, man. The lack of anti-airs are really hurting. The Vipers actually have a fair bit of energy. You don't want to be losing those Vipers, though, mate. The Cyclones get 1, they get 2. And the Cyclones usually happy to throw their lives away to take out Vipers because they know it takes a long time to gather up that energy. Banshee still going ham. Viper needs to drop another parasitic bomb. Banshee in the bottom right side was damaging the hatchery as well. Got it pretty low. Solar cannot afford to lose any more Ravagers. He's got to start using these abilities. Finally, parasitic bombs the Banshee there. But definitely a hard game for Solar right now up against the 92 workers of GUMIHO. He's got a 6th base up in the bottom right. I like that he's taking planetaries now after 4 bases of orbitals. These other bases are so far spread. He's like, no. We've got to make planetaries at this point. I've been as greedy as I can be. And he's got some very nice upgrades. +2 vehicle weapons starting. +3 plating will finish before the +3 attack of the Zerg kicks in. Solar's still on a pretty basic comp of just Lingbane Ravager, but complemented with, of course, fantastic spellcasters. He's got 3 more Infestors that'll be popping soon. The drone's trying to run away. Hellbat's morphing to intercept the Lings, while the Hellions split to chase after the drones. These Hellions going to try and get in between the mineral line. And, oh man, that Hellbat in the choke point, always a nasty one for those Zerglings to deal with. 11 kills on that Hellbat before it goes down. Tanks, turrets, ghosts, and a Banshee starting to move down this left side of the map. But GUMIHO's down on supply. He needs to be very careful right now to not kind of mess up and take a bad fight. Because it's such a big map, you can see he's trying to keep his army mobile. He's just got a few units out there. But you've got to be careful. Once again, Solar likes attacking around corners. Oh, Solar crushes the siege tank. What a legend. What a legend. He breaks the destructible rocks, crushes the siege tank with that. Very nice moves by Solar. And that, of course, denies the watchtower vision that GUMIHO was using. GUMIHO's still got sensor towers. So he's still got pretty fantastic vision. But there is a sense of urgency sometimes at this point in the game that the mech player feels. I don't think GUMIHO should feel that. I think if you're really good at playing Ghost Mech, you should be pretty chilled. But he should already have maybe 1 or 2 Thors mixed in case there is a Broodlord transition. Having just 1 or 2 Thors in the mix already really helps you out. Hellion's going to dive the bottom right side. I like that Solar's got spines everywhere. Not something you usually see at this level of play, but because this is dragged on for so long, and there's been so many of these run-bys, Solar's basically been forced to put spines in most of his bases just to help shore up those defenses because he's on the back foot. He knows he's going to be harassed and dived over and over. Cyclones, that's a double mag field, guys. They'll do 1,200 damage to that hatchery over 14 seconds if you let them. Forces Solar to engage. Beautiful blinding clouds. And it looks like he did lose one Viper. Those Infestors going to pop up for the Fungal. They actually only get one Ghost. And with more tanks and Hellions going around the corner, I think this should be a defense for GUMIHO. EMP does land on the Infestor. Gets those Ghosts out of trouble as well. Infestor goes down and more Ghosts randomly rallying in. Very fortuitous. Gets a couple of snipes there. One Ravager does barely get out of range, but look at that. Still 6,000 resources ahead of the units lost. And now that he's transitioned to traditional mech with Ghosts, he's also got those 3 Thors out that we were talking about. He's looking real good. He doesn't have +3 vehicle weapons yet, but you can see the Broodlord transition is underway right now for Solar. He's also morphing Packer Overseers because he doesn't have enough detection. +3 vehicle weapons gets remembered, as does +2 ship weapons. Really nice moves. +3 armor on the Ghosts. Them surviving and tanking. Usually more important both against Banelings and Zerglings than their actual normal attack. He'll obviously add those attack upgrades eventually, but they are lower order of priority. It's all about 10 tanks, 10 Hellbats, 10 Ghosts, a Banshee, 3 Thors in the mix. GUMIHO is max, and he wants to keep trading against Solar the way he's been doing it. Coming around both sides. Solar here with a nice spready, but oh my lord. Talk about the field of death. Oh my god. I don't know if that was the Light Brigade or what. It was definitely a charge into the Valley of Death. He thought he was the one kind of flanking his opponent from 2 sides, but that was set up as just an unbreakable position, and definitely one you don't want to be going into. Solar, though, he's mining on the right side, which is nice. Thing is, you need to mine more than the Terran player, and right now it's looking like GUMIHO's eating up more of the map than he is. Oh, he actually biles down a Thor. Very cute. Unfortunately, he will lose the base, and sniping down some Ravagers. Great move by GUMIBro. Lings coming in with the Ravagers. There's not that many Hellions anymore. The Lings are doing very well with their +3 melee. No Adrenal Glands. He forgot Adrenal Glands. And that is meaning these Zerglings are 40% less attack speed than they could have, man. That 40% attack speed bonus would have been so big here. Despite it, Solar breaks the position, denies the base. And GUMIHO and all mech players mouth agape as saying, oh my god, did they just beat the best, most efficient composition in the game with basic units? Zerg's so broken. Oh. And yeah, it feels that way, but remember, you're still trading overall way better. And Solar, he lost the base. Yes, he's got this one, but that's so easy to harass the moment GUMIHO finds out about that. Actually, he knows about it. It's in Sensor Tower range. He can move down there with even a few Hellions. And look at the income. The income is still pretty even for both sides. You drop around in mules, and that's going to be even better. You've got 6 orbitals, right? So if we keep an eye on that income tab, there's still so many more minerals, I feel, for GUMIHO to suck up on his side of the map. 4 healthy patches there, a couple patches there. Very healthy, very healthy. And if you can resecure that base on the left side, incredibly healthy. But 2 Vipers are the game changers. Solar's going to go for it one more time. Where's the EMP? GUMIHO with those Ghosts doesn't want to expose him too far forward. He gets a couple of snipes off on the Ravagers. And Solar with a tactical pullback there. Watch out, mate. Those Vipers are a little bit close to trouble. Oh, I talked about a Banshee or a Hellion harassing. GUMIHO says, screw that. I'm going to send in Sergeant Chathammer on a suicide mission. She's patriotic as all hell, man. Doesn't matter how many Tyranids there are on this planet. We're going to cleanse you with it. No cleansing happening. The Ghosts getting abducted there. The bloody Hellbats are coming in as well, and there's just so many units moved to the right side that GUMIHO takes an opportunistic fight. But careful, you don't want to stay too long because this can turn south very quickly. And indeed, is he giving up his tank spread? He's giving up his tank spread. Oh no, GUMIHO! He got a bit too antsy. I like the save on those 2 siege tanks. Very nicely done, but can he defend the planetary? Right now, Solar's trying to like lure him into the open, essentially. GUMIHO needs to be sieging these tanks, man. Some Lings do a run by on that side. It looks like they managed to get a siege tank. Another siege tank will go down there as well. Great moves. A couple Broodlords come out. Low energy Ghosts ain't going to be able to deal with that. 2 Broodlords. The savior of Solar in this game. If they can keep this hatchery alive, that'd be massive. He needs to focus the siege tanks, focus the tank Solar. But, oh, nice focus by GUMIHO. He says, look, these tanks are pretty much done for. Let's at least take out the base before we go down. Lings in the base. Those Lings that killed the siege tanks taking out SCVs and infrastructure right now. GUMIHO is actually it appears to be starting to lose this game. Now, there's only 2 Broodlords, and the fact is, guess what? He's just going back to Spellcaster, Ravager, Ling Bane. So those Thors and Ghosts you're building to deal with the Broodlords, you don't really need them. You need like 1 Thor to kill the Broodlords. You actually just need the same army you've been using all game. But the fact that he just cleared all your tanks out with those 2 Broodlords is massive. Solar, the Slayer of Mech, I've always talked about because he just beats Mech before it gets going. In this game, he's showing you give him enough, big enough map, and he's very, very difficult to deal with. Now, GUMIHO is going to keep pressing forwards here, but I think he's just presenting small chunks of his army to be taken out, unfortunately. I'd like to see more harassment from him and a little bit more turtling, those drones escaping on the right and the left. This fight, I think, is game ending. I think GUMIHO's done if Solar can break him. Nice! EMP does go down on the Vipers. They only get a single Blinding Cloud off. The Ghosts are trying to pull back to that right side. He's got more Ghosts and Hellbats coming in. The Siege Tank, though, in these wide open areas on this map. Mech sucks balls. And that's why I really would have loved to see more Banshees from him, especially after the Corruptors went down. Obviously, you know, it's you get stuck in a mode of, oh no, Ghosts will do it. And they're meant to, but on this map, it's so wide open. The basic Zerg units, microed by a god like Solar, do find some avenues. But you know what? GUMIHO's relentless. He says, I need to keep pushing. Yes, he's losing command centers very slowly in that top left side. We can monitor its hit points in the bottom right if you guys want to keep track of that. The Thors are going to try and pick everything off. Oh! And yep, that orbital command center will go down in the top left. No, he's going to lift it and mass repair it. Wow, GUMIHO at the very last second, but that means the SCVs are getting picked off, of course, by those Broodlords. 2 Thors go down. He's killed the gold base. If he can get this base as well, Solar's in trubs right now. Solar is actually in massive trouble, losing 2 very important mining bases. Up in the top side of the map, that planetary will hold on against those Broodlords for a long time. He needs a single anything that shoots up right now. Hellion's branching off to the left side. He knows that, okay, most of your economy is relying on this base since I took out the right bases. Great evacuation by Solar, but it's not an evacuation that feels good. Ghosts trying to harass down the right side of the map. Ravagers are morphing there. Fungal and the Ravagers going to take advantage of those Ghosts being revealed. Hellbats coming in on that left side really nice here. Let's check the income tab. They're both down to like 17, 16, 1800 minerals a minute, something like that. This base still pretty healthy. I feel like GUMIHO just needs to make sure he transfers his workers. Yeah, he's got 19 workers on 1 mineral patch. If he could spread those to the bottom right side and this base again, his income will pump up. But of course, he's been in chaos. He's going to grab those SCVs. He's going to try and take this base on the left side again. I don't think he realizes how much he's missing out on that side, guys. Siege tank on the right side kills a hatchery. Oh my god, he just got 4 drones and a hatchery. Another 2 drones just went down as well. Wow, that random siege tank that got left behind that Solar didn't realize he was building a hatchery in range of. This is crazy, dude. Ghost coming forward right now. He's going to get a lot of these drones down. Tanks, Thors, and Hellbats rotating down this left side. He's going to deny yet another base. Solar's out of money. Solar now is in the position no Zerg likes to be in, where they need to crush their next fight to win this game. And I was going to say, best move is probably to just attack the enemy production, go up the guts. But look, there's plenty of units there. That's not going to be easy to break, but it might be his best play. He's got to find an efficient battle, and I don't know how he's going to do it. This base never got its workers replaced. He's going to run in, try and take out that missile turret. Infestor's coming in. Oh my god, there's a Raven right there. Oh, I think the Raven barely clipped it. He gets 1 Infestor. Make it 2. Make it 3. Oh, GUMIHO. But he is attacking down there with a lot of unsieged tanks. A bit of an awkward position, but Solar needs to pull away from that left side. It's too many kill zones over there. Too many corners to be attacking around. You do not want to be attacking around a corner. And Bile's landing. Oh, he gets 2 medevacs. Ghost coming in from the right side, though. There's just too much Terran on the dance floor. GUMIHO is going to rout this army, and every Ravager that falls is an irreplaceable unit for Solar, because remember, Solar's economy is down in the dumps. Ravagers cost as much as Mutalisks. They're very expensive units. 100 minerals, 100 gas for each one. Ling run by on the left side. Solar's getting down and dirty and scrappy. He says, I will not go down without a fight. Looks like the Hellbats do defend on the right side against that little Roach Ling run by. The Lings are going to take out this siege tank and this command center. The tank did take out a lot of them. Before that happened, this gold base is back up and mining. Oh, he almost gets the Raven. The Thor does dodge the Biles. The Raven gets clipped, but it is still survived for now. The Thor's Ghost's forcing him to fight right now, and Solar's going to tap out. He knows he can't beat that army. That's his last mining base, and there is, of course, more bases mining behind it for GUMIHO. A fantastic game 1 for GUMIHO. Great opening for him, but by God, did Solar make it hard to finish off game 1. All right, not going to be happy with how that last game went. In the top right, we've got Onside Gaming Solar, who I guarantee you, if he sniffs mech, he's going to try and all in it. His opponent in the bottom left side, it is GUMIHO. Now, I keep saying Psystorm GUMIHO, but I believe, didn't he actually leave Psystorm? I'm going to have to look that one up really quickly here on my second monitor while I'm playing. He's going for the proxy barracks, guys. Yeah, he's actually not on Psystorm anymore, guys. He's teamless right now. Damn. Can't believe GUMIHO's teamless. I mean, GUMIHO is such a beast. But all good things do come to an end. He was with them for a long time. They picked him up after the military as well. And he's going to go for 3 barracks all in. Oh my god, it's 3 barracks, guys. Not just 2 barracks. This is 3 barracks. You know, I actually came back. I was reading my Discord messages. I hadn't really been keeping up with them while I was away. And I had a mate say, man, have you played against 3 racks much lately? Like, you know, can you remember like any like cool details to make it easier to defend? And I was like, no, I have not. I've been out of the loop for a little while on defending proxy barracks, but this one especially, man, is nasty because even if you scout the front 2 barracks, you don't know about the third one. And it hits like a brick. So overpulling drones is usually really good to shut down a push and making sure they don't get their bunkers up. But it's all about pulling your workers at the right time. And Solar is only now going to find out what's happening. Here we go. Immediately pulling a lot of workers is Solar. You can see he's got 11 workers on his army key. He's building 4 Zerglings as well. He's got 2 drones chasing the Marine, but he carefully pulls them back. Doesn't want to feed drone kills to his opponent. Oh, that SCV! That SCV is not going down in the bunker! Even though he's going after the Marines, which is good, he's got to make sure the SCV goes down as well. And the distraction of having a micro, that means he's already lost 4 workers. He's only killed 1 Marine and 1 SCV. If those SCVs survive, they can keep building the bunker, which is very huge. There are Lings out here as well as these drones, but this is too much damage. I think GUMIHO might be up 2-0 right now, guys. I think GUMIHO may indeed be up 2-0. This is a massive amount of damage. And if that bunker doesn't go down, he's completely screwed. But, okay, at least he gets the SCV building it. The Queen is out. Queen can kind of defend. He's got another Queen coming down. Notice he didn't inject with either of these because he's so low on money. What's more important is use the energy to get transfuse. 2 transfuses plus 2 Queens can hold off a good number of Marines. But it's not done just yet, is it? Because the Marines are still building. At least they were for a little bit. He's going to go down for a command center now. So it seems GUMIHO is not going to go all in with this. I actually think if he just kept building Marines, pulls the SCVs across the map, he probably wins this game. And even Solar, he doesn't have any scouting right now. So he doesn't know if those SCVs are being pulled. If I were him, I would have put this Overlord out in the middle because he has no vision. And he's trying to go Ling speed and keep building Zerglings right now. But I mean, he's essentially, is he just going to have to do a big Ling flood all in, try to surround these Marines and then counterattack across the map? Maybe. The barracks are floating home. If the Marines go home, I mean, it's really bad for Solar right now. He didn't want to build a spine crawler because he can't use that with mobility on the map. Now he's realizing, okay, I don't think he's committing. Oh, I've seen the barracks floating home. Okay. And he's going to stop building Zerglings. He's going to go across the map with 17 Lings and do what he can. The Marines here, I think that's enough Marines. 11 Marines beat 17 Zerglings, guys, even with Ling speed. If they're in a ball, they'll easy take it out. You want to have at least 2 Zerglings for each Marine usually, unless you can get a really beautiful surround. But it's been spotted now, so these Marines can just walk back into the entrance. Oh, clump him up, GUMIHO. GUMIHO spread out in a bit of a line there, but I think it's good enough for him. Yeah, I think it... Oh, is it? Yeah, as he gets into the corner, you can see, and look at that, lifts the barracks off. Really nice. Interestingly, he changed his mind and decided to scout with one of the barracks, and he's gone 3rd command center behind it, and a factory goes down. A second factory. Oh my god, it's 3 racks into Mac. Oh, GUMIHO, you dirty boy. You dirty boy, you. Or it could maybe not be. It might still be bio, but it might be like the Blue Flame Hellion or very heavy Widow Mine drops with drilling claws. I don't know. I don't know, man. We'll see exactly what he chooses to go for. Because he's still built an add-on on the front. He's still building some Marines. Barracks is going to scout that 3rd base. Tech Lab coming up. I mean, GUMIHO's the sort of cat who might do what we call the I'm never going to get past 4.5k build, which is where you basically just like do some cheesy opening and then you attack with a random mix of units at a timing that's kind of bad and therefore people wouldn't do it. So what I would have suggested, he's clearly not doing it, but I'll finish the thought, is you build like 4 Cyclones, 2 off each factory, and then you have like 15 unupgraded Marines and you just attack and pull the boys with it. And you hope that your opponent is far enough behind from the opening and so surprised by this bizarre attack timing that it works. But no, this is just going to be a 3rd factory, Blue Flame. So he's going to go full battle mech here. He'll take a 4th gas in the near future, no doubt. That barracks floating around the backside. Oh, man. Gonna need a Roachhorn, Solar. Gonna need it soon, my man. The fact that there's no second barracks in the wall with a tech lab, I would start to suspect something. On the other hand, tech lab on the outside of the wall is really dangerous, isn't it? So and that would be a wall off, which you'd have to like lift the barracks to move. So yeah, I don't know. I don't think there's much info here for Solar. Barracks finally gets taken down by the queens. There is a Baneling nest, so he's playing Lingvane Queen. That's not what you want here, guys. Blue Flame Hellions are going to roast the Zerglings. Cyclone Hellion only going to be bad against Banelings if they decide to drive into it. And I'll tell you what, guys. Banelings, unlike mines, are not invisible. And for those who don't know, if you guys are ever in the military and your job is to drive a truck, and then you can see a dude laying mines in front of you, and then you choose to drive over them, that means you're not good at your job. And it's kind of the same for Hellion Cyclone. I think GUMIHO is pretty good at his job. I think he's not going to tell them to drive into the Banelings, which means he can kite all day, dance in, dance out, and Solar trying to go Mutas. Oof. I mean, Mutas is all about having a numbers advantage. It's all about having that numbers advantage. Hellion's going to dive the left side. Watch out, Mr. Solar. Spread those lings. Look, he's trying to spread the lings so they don't all get one shot, but Blue Flame is deadly here, man. All right, gets 1 Hellion. Gets 2. Ow, ow, ow. Good Evo Chamber block. Very nice Evo Chamber block. And as the lings come in, it looks like, yeah, he's dealt with it. Okay, really good hold here. They'll still take out a few Zerglings, mining time, all this sort of stuff. Does he see the Spire? Yeah, he saw the Spire as well. And the thing is, Magfield Cyclones are better against Mutas than they've ever been before. And this is just an excuse as a Terran player to mix a few Widow Mines in as well, because they will ruin Mutalisks. Oh, Cyclones getting some good locks here. The Marines really helping out. There's not many Banelings. There's only 2 Banes. 2 more morphing right now. The Marine Cyclone. The random set of units. Well, it's not that random, is it? Because he saw his opponent was trying to go greedy into Mutas. So he says, hey, let's push with everything I've got right now. Normally not a good moment to attack, but in this scenario it is. The Lings come in from behind, but he killed a lot of these drones before losing this army. The Spore Crawler, for some reason, he was locked onto there. The Cyclone Hellion still rallying in. And all you've got is some Dregs of Solar. A rough series for him here. He gets a really safe, aggressive opening against the greediest possible build that blocks it. GUMIHO got way ahead in game 1. Now in game 2, GUMIHO does the most aggressive build and gets a good start off it, a good lead, and is able to capitalize upon it. Now Soul is basically dead in the water. He's trying to build Mutas right now, but this doesn't work. You need a surprising overwhelm of Mutas to fly on top. The moment his Spire was spotted, I think he should have cancelled, built a Roachhorn, and just tried to mass units to defend, but it was, that's the better of 2 bad decisions when you're in a bad position. You're up against the wall, and GUMIHO here winning with mech 2 games in a row versus Solar. What the hell is going on? All right, guys, let's get into game number 3. He's got to win 3 games in a row to bring it back. And he opens very standard, very safe here. Hatchery first opening up against a 1-Rax expand. But it's a Marine first expand into a factory. Oh, no, it's not. There's already Reaper on the way across the map. So very standard opening. Reaper, Marine, factory. Are we going to see a second gas? No. Looks like it'll be a 3 command center opening for GUMIHO. And I think he's going to play Bio and go 8 racks. You could argue it's a bit predictable, but I really don't think he plays mech 3 games in a row. He got very good openings 2 games in a row. That's why he was able to win with mech. And it looked good. Mech is a great transition off those openings. He gets a drone kill already and a Spore Trick. Goes back for more, but thinks better of it and does pull out. Very well done. 3rd command center goes down a few seconds late, but not too bad. Worth it if you're getting a drone and a Spore Crawler for sure. All right. Got Queen's building. Factory swapping over. There is a starport, so expect the double Hellion to start here. And then the second gas goes down on that natural. I guess he's going to build it maybe. Reaper's still just chipping at the hatchery, not really doing anything. Yeah, so second gas goes down. Guys, those are really quick Hellions. I'm trying to figure out what he cut to get those Hellions started so early. Normally off a 3cc, as long as your Hellions start by about 316, 317, it's pretty good. His started at like 305. So I'm like, I guess it's just the delayed second gas, potentially, which is pretty standard these days to allow you to get those Hellions out. But yeah, well played. GUMIHO's got the Banshee, will be coming out soon as well. Hellion Banshee is not a bad opening. I actually think doing the Cloakless variation, the innovation build that Oliveira pulled out at the World Championship, it's a very good way to do it. Did it versus Rainer on, was it this map? I think it was this exact map. Because Banshees keep you safe, but if you invest in Cloak as well, I mean, Solar's defense is really good, so you're unlikely to get that much damage, but also it means you're investing even more gas in things that will not stop one of his famous Roach Queen busts, so very scary to deal with. The Reaper's going to jump up in towards the main base. Hellions try to poke in there, but they end up having to poke out. Reaper's going to rotate to that left side also. 6 Hellions, Banshees on the way. It's going to pop out soon. Stim starts up. As we said, guys, Cloakless Banshee. He's done. He's doing it. He's doing two Banshees, no Cloak into Stim here. But the Overlord's going to see it, and that's unfortunate. Now, Solar, I really wonder here, as Solar, do you think that's a fake? Does he just drop a Roach Warren? I think he's just going to drop a Roach Warren no matter what. But if he thinks it's a fake, he'll go Baneling Nest here and think it's actually... oh, sorry. If he thinks it's a fake, he'll go Roach Warren. But if he thinks it's legit, he'll just play Baneling Nest and go for his normal Ling Bane play that he prefers versus Bio. You can play Roaches, of course, versus Bio, but it's not a guy like Solar's favorite because he's so good with Ling Bane. Hellions could do a big run by 8 Hellions. Oh, but they move on creep and then they just sit there, allowing the Queens time to reposition. At least they get a drone creep. And you're still getting damage for free. But I actually think with only 14 Lings, 8 Hellions could have roasted that. All the Queens were out of position up front. Solar was really lazy, not having his Queen split, and he could have been punished there. That's the sort of mistake which seems meaningless in this sort of game, if your eyes aren't open to it. But as an experienced observer, I look at that and I'm like, Solar, you're down 2 games. You cannot afford to just keep all your Queens in one control group. You can see he split them nicely now. But definitely a big mistake before. 1-1 upgrades are on the way. 4th and 5th barracks are going down in the natural. He's already got the double reactor landed, so we can start building 5 Marines at a time, and he'll start even more. He's going siege tanks, which I would say is bizarre. But remember what I said, 8 racks is what I think his game plan will be. He's going to come in with the Cloakless Banshee Rush, just poke in, try to pick off some drones. He's hidden them pretty well. So if they actually flew in the 3rd, they could have picked off quite a few drones, but the Overlord's going to spot him on the south side. Hellions are pushed back by these Queens. Sorry, I'll try to slow down on the observing, guys. As I said, first series back, and try to catch everything that's going on, but I should also pay a bit of attention to those viewers who aren't 6K MMR bloody semi-pro or pro gamer people watching. A bit harder to process what's on the screen when I'm flicking back and forth like that. 2 drones do go down. Oh, nice transfuse, saves the Queen. You know, 2 drones, almost gets an extractor, forces a bit of a response, not too bad. Unfortunately, he scans there and doesn't get the active tumor on the bottom, even though I'm pretty sure it was in scan range. So he's going to go back in for it, and he snipes it, but then the Queen's just immediately replaces the creep, and this feels very wasteful on the scans. Now, we've got an armory on the way as well. Where's those next 3 barracks, mate? He's taking a 5th gas geyser. Oh! Oh! Queen's in the open. Oh, no. Solar with a big doo-doo. Oh, GUMIHO's feeling himself right now. His armory's not done, so he can't morph Hellbats just yet. He also doesn't have 1-1 in combat shield, so I wouldn't mind him slowing down just a little bit here. You don't want to force yourself too deep on creep. The Hellions are expecting a Ling run by. Look at that. Oh, next level anticipation by Gumi, bro. But great reaction by Solar. If he wasn't watching for a second, those Lings could have all been roasted. Instead, it works out pretty nicely for him. 3 Marines stim. The rest of them are still there, dancing in and out. He's got to get out. Nice pullback by GUMIHO. Good break by Solar. And a good choice to just take the tank and then pull away. The Hellions are still there. 4th command center being built on location. It's not the 8 racks I was talking about. GUMIHO's happy to play a longer game. However, he's queued up a lot of tanks and medevacs, and I think he should remove some of those medevacs from the queue and instead go for 2-2 upgrades. He's also gone 2nd factory already. Interesting. I mean, I guess 2nd factory, 4th command center is usually what you go for the late game transition, but still no 2-2 started. He's got enough gas to start it up almost, but he keeps queuing more tanks and medevacs, spending his gas bank, and that's a big issue because the 1-1 upgrades are catching up for Zerg. And GUMIHO is so deep in Zerg territory. Solar's getting ready to sandwich it. Big Ling Bane army on the right. Ling Bane actually going to go for more of a run by on the left side. I feel like Solar's in a very good position to pounce as long as he doesn't overcommit on this run by. He's going to commit to it. Oh, GUMIHO! No focus fire, no spready. No focus fire, no spready big baneling hits. On the plus side for GUMIHO though, he doesn't lose any workers, so it might be okay. The Marines and the tanks here. I like the elevator on the high ground. He's going to be able to damage, and yep, even gets the cancel on that 5th base. These Marines running in the south side, that's a lot more than 8 Marines though. Yeah, careful mate, careful mate. Picks up and drops those on the high ground. GUMIHO's a pretty good scrappy player. He's got to be careful, he's up against Solar, and Solar is a man who can stand in front of Maru in the pocket, getting uppercutted repeatedly. Like, I'm talking just his head's knocking back. You think he's about to lights go off at any moment. And then you just see his hive finish. And he's somehow got 90 drones up during it. And you're like, what? And it's like, he just fucking snaps upright. And he's got that killer look in his eye. And he says, lurkers and vipers, dickhead. And you're like, whoa. And he just kills you. And that's the thing. Solar's done that versus Maru many times. So GUMIHO is not Maru. He's not as good at the multitasking and control. And there's a lot more urgency for him to keep the pressure up and try to, you know, keep Solar down in the dumps and really abuse this position. On the other hand, rallying to the front like this does give the Zerg an opportunity to take a very good fight. Oh, SCV's on the base exposed. Watch out. He needed to run those away earlier. Oh, no. That's going to be some big boom booms. Some very nice big boom booms coming in there for Solar. He's going to take out 16 workers. And guess what? Oh no, now GUMIHO's trying to micro both sides at once. Oh, this is going to be really hard for him to control. He's still got 2 siege tanks pretty far back. He cannot move his Marines and Hellbats too far forward. He's not dealing with it. He's just not dealing with it at home. Oh no, first he F2'd home, then he just changed his mind and decided to continue attacking. And Solar just out-positioning him and saying, hey, I've got just enough to overwhelm your defenses at home. Forces a bit of indecision from GUMIHO, who realized, oh, it's too far to come home, but then also he was too slow to make that decision. He'd already kind of half abandoned his position, ultra clumped his army, and now it's a nice, easy finish for Solar. He's cleaned up 40 workers, the 3rd is bare, the 4th is bare for GUMIHO. GUMIHO's 2-2 upgrades finish for an army that no longer exists, and you know, the new shipment of rifles arrives. Unfortunately, it arrives at the base that is filled with coffins, and that's not a good setup. Terran player down in the dumps. GUMIHO's going to keep trying to play this out, but we see here. I don't like that he played siege tanks. I'm going to go out and I think the siege tanks is fine if you're doing an 8 racks big 3 base kind of attack, super heavy timing. We're just trying to kill him early, kill him in the mid game with a massive Marines, but. Because he was playing more of a macro follow-up to what was just a single tank push, I would have loved to see Widow Mines instead of that siege tank. Another big ling run by finds 6 fresh mules. I combined 6 and fresh into 1, and apparently 6 and fresh. I only took the E from fresh because apparently my subconscious is a massive troll. So 6 mules get taken out by those lings, and I don't know. Apparently I'm from New Zealand for today. Ling Bane massing up. He's not forgetting adrenal glands this time. +3 carapace, adding those ranged upgrades as well. Let's see what goes on. Ooh. Armory's still looking pretty sexy right now. Marines and Marauders going to be poking in on this bottom side. Let's see what he can do. Marine Marauder there. Damages 1 base, does take it down. I mean, GUMIHO's going to get back to a giant maxed out army. The thing is, he can't even afford to start 3-3. So this essentially turns into a big 2-2 all-in. Yeah, a really big 2-2 all-in attack, right? So the whole idea with this is you're just going to see exactly what you can do and try to basically just get a giant overwhelming army. Solar can buy time, but if Solar's not careful, he's down 20 army supply. His upgrades haven't finished other than adrenal glands. It's all about the Vipers. He's got 3 blinding clouds. 3 blinding clouds coming. 1, 2, 3, 4 siege tanks taken out of the equation, which means there's only 3 left. The Marauders aren't really in the front tanking for these Marines, and that is so many Banelings. Oh, with the siege tanks cleared, that was, of course, GUMIHO's last chance in this game was to take 1 big brutal push, but Solar read the play perfectly. He was so well set up to flank that army from 2 sides. And GUMIHO, he needed a bunch of Marauders on the left flank, a bunch of Marauders on the right, and he basically just needed to not be attacking from that angle because these cliffs allowed a safe angle for the Vipers to get those blinding clouds off, initiating the engage with that, destroying those, and having a good time. Ling, Bane, Hydra going to go for the big surroundy surround and starting to take those units down. Solar looking large and in charge. He will not be going down 3-0 to GUMIHO. Remember, Solar is naturally the predator of GUMIHO. He had a couple of bad openings, game 1 and game 2. This time around, it was a bit more of an even match, and he says, this is what an even match looks like between us two. Solar gets a point on the board. All right, down but not out. Very nice game in that last one for onside Solar. And remember, he lost those 3 queens. Looked like some traction, of course, for GUMIHO down here in the bottom right side, but wasn't able to capitalize upon it. I think rallying your whole army to the front for like 5 minutes straight like he did is always a losing play. It's actually fundamentally, strategically just not that great a play. Now, this is a gas first opening for GUMIHO. Guys, that's why the command center was waiting for a few seconds. It's because your barracks is slightly later because you've gone gas, then barracks. Delays the orbital by a few seconds. And this is a very dangerous opening if your opponent did, say, pull first, because GUMIHO has no scouting. He's just wanting to get that factory up really quickly, and he's going to go factory and then reactor right afterwards, which means you don't have a marine to cover you. So it's your Reaper goes across the map to scout, and if they happen to bring Zerglings in, well, you've got nothing at home to defend whatsoever. But he's actually going to send an SCV out to spot for that. He says if Reaper goes to the right side and the Lings go to the left because the Overlord sees, then, oh, he's like, yeah, I'll see any Lings coming. Interesting. Wait, is he proxying a starport? Whoa, 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 whoa. He's doing a 4 Hellion drop. Oh my god, it's a PvT build. It's a PvT build. This is super cool. He's going to go proxy medevac. He's going to lift 4 Hellions in the main super early on. And then he's going to maybe follow up with like a Liberator from that proxy as well. He could technically go Banshee or, sorry, Battle Cruiser from it. And that's something like GUMIHO might consider doing just because he's GUMIHO and he's crazy. He's going to get a creep tumor. Hey, gets a tumor. Very nice. Ling's just cleaning those rocks down. Third base here on the triangle. Orbital does start up at home. GUMIHO raises the wall and says, no, no, no. Bad. Bad Zergling. Now the Zergling, that might already make you curious as Solar as to like, why is your starport not anywhere near the barracks? That means, did you go 3 command centers? Is there a second barracks somewhere? What's going on? Don't know. It doesn't seem to make him think about this just yet. His Lings are in position to stop that. Medevac's on the way. You can see the medevac's going to pop out. The 4 Hellions will arrive, and they will pick up and drop into that main base. I have a feeling this Overlord, it might catch him rotating to the left, though. And Solar might kind of get a warning of what's going on. Just because it's very hard to hide this with how deep that Overlord's vision is going to be. And the fact that GUMIHO doesn't see the Overlord on the pillar, it's on the high ground. I think this is actually genius Overlord positioning by Solar. You might think, well, it's pretty obvious there's a pillar there. Why wouldn't you do it? But look at that. Look at the way those aliens moved. I guarantee you Solar is aware of this now. Solar? Solar? Oh, God, he's not aware of it. He wasn't paying attention, guys. He was not paying attention. Okay, the aliens are in the main. Oh, no, 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 no. Completely blindsided. Don't let him build an Evo. Yep, notice he moves right on top so he can't block with an Evo chamber. Good move there. But you know what? 6 drones could have been worse for Solar. Good reaction and a good healthy number of Zerglings. Now, GUMIHO didn't lose any units, so that's still fantastic damage, especially if he goes back and repairs those up. He's now building a Liberator out of that left side, and you can see Solar still hasn't spotted the starport, but he might be aware of the fact that this might or should be an option simply because of that. We can definitely be critical of the fact that he didn't have an Overlord over here earlier, because, I mean, why did he have an Overlord in the back of the main and 2 Overlords in the back of the natural? A bit bizarre. Hellion drop comes back in, does lose one of those Hellions. Liberator sieging on the 3rd. Nice moves there by GUMIHO, creating some chaos. And you might be thinking, yeah, this is great damage. I don't think it's enough. And I know this is quick to jump to the conclusions and not talk about what it as it's happening, but actually, wait, Hellions dive the natural. Hold that thought. The drone pulls are so good by Solar. They're so good. And GUMIHO just threw the kitchen sink at him. And I'll tell you what, guys, if you literally tear your kitchen sink out and throw it at your opponent's face, and he's still standing at the end of the day, usually you're screwed because you can't do anything. You can't cook a meal, you can't wash your dishes, you don't have a kitchen sink anymore, you're screwed. The 3rd command center is only now starting here at past 5 minutes. Proxy Starport is incredibly committed as a build, and I think if he kept these units alive and just kept rotating them around, he'd be okay. But because he sacrificed so many aliens, you can see the units lost tab is very even, but Solar has map control, so he can just hold the drone key down, spread creep, go double upgrades, go lair, all that good stuff, and it feels like he will explode ahead a little bit quicker Then GUMIHO, who of course is only now adding all these barracks and this sort of stuff. He's going to bring the starport home. He's got Liberator sieging on the Watchtower, which I think is very cute. Anytime Solar sends Lings out for scouting, they'll get taken out by the Liberator. It's kind of a passive way of maintaining map control, I guess. 1-1 upgrades on the way for both sides. Almost identical timings. I think GUMIHO could make a play from this. It's just, it didn't get what he wanted it to. That's all, guys. He was looking for the kind of like the break point where Solar got overwhelmed by the multi-prong and just loses way too many workers. But with high risk comes, you know, potentially high rewards. In this case, well, we saw exactly why it is risky. Because Solar was able to just keep pulling those workers away, use the Lings, use the Queens to defend. Now he's got a 4th base going up, 6 minutes 30. 62 workers, 5 gases, 3 base fully saturated. And expect him to just play his very straightforward standard game. Pressure's on GUMIHO to find damage and find a way to slow down his opponent. I do like that these Hellions are rotating pretty nicely and taking out some of these Tumors. Unfortunately, Tumors do have 50 hit points. Takes 4 Hellion shots to take him out, and the Lings gonna make sure he doesn't even get that. Similar to that last game, it feels like GUMIHO maybe overscans a little bit, trying to force his way in these games and doesn't really find it. Now, that is fascinating, guys. So what this is GUMIHO was so annoyed by how long his starport was going to take to get home. He said, I need medevacs. I need them now. And he said, you know what? I don't think I can afford to float this all the way home. But if I keep the Liberator there, maybe he will never find out that I have this starport in this very exposed position. And that I can build medevacs and keep the pressure going. So I do like that GUMIHO is like kind of controlling both towers and all this sort of stuff. Solar's just going to run up the guts with those Zerglings, though, and the Hellions are way out of position. Oh, no. I mean, he's got a few Hellions and Marines here. If they pull into that little corner above the factory. Oh, yeah. I think he's okay. Lose a few units, but pretty good positioning here by GUMIBro. And his armory's almost done. Start 2-2. Yeah, very good trade, actually, for him. Not bad at all. Solar went in for what could have been an awesome move. Ended up being not so great for him. He's got 5 Roaches, interestingly, guys. So I think he was expecting mech. He's built 5 Roaches. He'll make them all into Ravagers, which, of course, is a decent just unit to support with. Drop Biles across their stuff. But it is Widowmine production. Second factory of the Tech Lab is coming up now. 2-2 upgrades are on the way. Very slight, about 5-second lead, maybe 6-second lead on that for Solar. So upgrades are very even. Solar's up only a couple of workers right now. There is a 4th base building on location on the right side of the map. GUMIHO has a crazy worker count, but he's building so many buildings. That's why you don't see it on the saturation right now. He's building lots of depots and all this sort of stuff. But at 70 workers already, before his 4th is even up, he will be able to saturate that very quickly. SCVs take out the Zergling. Looks like that SCV goes down as well on that Watchtower. These Hellions derping out, trying to maintain position. Marines stim over to the right side, realizing that Solar would follow that up. And the medevacs will be there to heal that as well. He's still got a Viking out, which can, of course, always lift to keep cleaning up vision. And going to 8 barracks now. That's where the Tech Lab transition into Marauders and then Ghosts will begin. Behind this, a Spire starts. Wait. Solar's gone Spire. And Hive. Wow, okay, interesting. I don't know if he's trying to go straight Broodlords or something like that. That would be a very peculiar decision against Biomine play. I mean, Broodlords are always a good unit, especially on this map where it's not too wide across, so the immobility of the Broodlords can't be abused as easily, but interesting to see which way that goes. Hellions and Libs hanging on out. We've got the Bio over there. It's going to pick up those medevacs, move around that north side, see if he can get in. Sensor Tower's building forward for GUMIHO. He's going to try and spread most of his units probably over this area. I'd like to see him defend this choke point and this choke point, though. So most of his units should be back here. And once again, another player who hasn't taken out these rocks. Guys, I guarantee you, pro gamers do not know these rocks exist. They don't know you can kill that and put the tank in a better position further forward. Because I still have yet to see a Terran player clear it up in TVZ in a matchup where it's obviously the right play. Marines and Widowmines doing what they can. Oh, that's what I call a big boom boom. 29 kill commander. Widowmine says, Solar, welcome to D-Town. Solar says, ugh. Makes an unhappy Zerg noise in response to that. Lingbane Spore ready for the double drop on the top right. Hellions on the left are clearing a bit of that creep. Trying to get some inroads into their territory. Oh, Biles, though, very good for taking out those Widowmines. They do outrange them. Another Widowmine getting ready to fire. Doesn't really get the big boom, just hits a few of these guys. And that 4th base is wide open. And these tanks are just sitting in the middle of nowhere. I I don't like GUMIHO's positioning right now, guys. This feels kind of like the last game where GUMIHO's like spread his units all over the map in random positions. And that's really good when you're fully offensive. But what happens if the Zerg springs into action? I feel he's spread a bit too thin. Widowmine gets a decent hit. Another one gets a decent hit. I like the Widowmines everywhere. Don't get me wrong. Those are great, but I wish these siege tanks were a bit more centralized. 4 command centers going down. But he's going heavy tank production right now. He's building heavy tank marine marauder against a player who's already making broodlords. I think Solar knew that GUMIHO was going to try and turtle this game out. And he said, yeah, if I just go straight to broodlords though, you're going to be very reliant on siege tanks because every Terran plays siege tanks on this map. Broodlords hard counter them. And I can just overwhelm you with a big, 8 broodlord push. Now, how do you deal with that? Splitting your army up probably. And multi-pronging and not really fighting front on. GUMIHO has right now double drop on number 4, Hellbats on number 3. He's got his main army on number 2, and 2 medevacs in that main army on number 1. So number 1 seems like it's a dead hot key right now. On the other hand, we've got Vipers, Massling Bane Ravager, and of course those 8 Corruptors ready on that other key. Widowmines, oh, doesn't get to fire. Unfortunate there. And Solar going for what can only be described as a crazy attack right now, but so many Marines are out on the map on drops. He gets a command center. Gets 2 command centers down. Very nice play. That Liberator will die to Queens. The double drop does finally go by in the natural. Looks like he's going to lose one of these medevacs. Oh, nice. Gets a Queen down. Evo Chambers. Oh, Carapace is the most important upgrade. Transfuse ain't going to save it. And he's going to pick up and get out of there with 8 Marines. Very nicely done. Got a bit of an army on the right side, but they are overstimmed. And oh no, F2. Oh no, F2. GUMIHO, without even thinking, in the moment of chaos, reaches for that needle. Doesn't even realize that's what happens when your addiction takes over from your mind. Broodlord Viper coming on forward. His army is trying to gather together, but what's he got that shoots up? 2 Vikings on the way, 2 Thors, and 3 Ghosts. None of them are out of the map just yet. All he's got is 33 Marines, which in the open can beat the Broodlords. But of course, the moment you stim at those Broodlords, the Banelings will come forward and absolutely wreck. There is no Infestors, which means Ghosts are not terrible versus Broodlords, but you need a lot of energy and a lot of fantastic micro and time. Things which GUMIHO does not have. Ghosts trickling out are going to be almost useless in this scenario. The Thor Viking will get some stuff done. As I said, he's got a backstab. That's what he's doing. He's backstabbing and giving up ground. Problem is, no planetaries on this right side. Even a handful of Lings can get in there and ruin his day. The Bio Tank's going to run in that left side, but he's getting slowed down by the creep spread and everything else. You know what? Not many Lings actually run into the base. GUMIHO could have taken a lot more damage in this scenario. And you know what? Looks like that army in the top side goes down. Yeah, good cleanup by Solar. You know what, guys? Queens pull off creep. They die. And most importantly, the starport's still alive! The starport is still alive, and Solar has never had that left watchtower, so he still doesn't even know the starport's out there, which is actually really cool. 3 Vikings, 2 Thors are on the map now. The Thors have +2 vehicle weapons, so they're not terrible. There's no flyer upgrades for the Broodlords. And it looks like the Broodlord's swapping to that high-impact payload. Oh, he's got to watch out for the parasitic bombs. The Vikings take a parasitic bomb there. One of them goes down. The Queens take out another Viking. Oh my god, it's a lot of Banelings. And if the Rogers and Ravagers can clean up the Thors, there's not really much left to deal with those Broodlords in the back. There's still 6 Broodlords alive. Oh no, the mineral line gets taken out. And that Thor there is going to go down as well. And this is what happens when they surprise you with Broodlords and you're very focused on tanks and that sort of stuff. And you just don't really see it coming to the last second. It's so hard to deal with. Ghosts are going to drop a few snipes. 2 Broodlords go down. Very nice. But a third one goes down as well. The Ghosts actually got very good damage. We see how unsupported Broodlords, no Infestors, no Ling Bane, do go down to Ghosts pretty hard. But 22 workers have already fallen. And imagine if just a handful of Lings at any point run into this right base. Because it's an orbital. And that's part of the risk of playing this style without those planetaries is like you're saying, well, you know what? If I don't build orbitals, I don't have the economy to really match them. And it's a slow death. Even if my bases are defended from small harassment. I'm going to play the higher risk style, but also with bigger rewards. And whilst that can work well, it can also bite you in the butt. Lucky that Solar did not take advantage of that. Solar now, for the first time in this game, finds the starport and is like, what the hell is that doing there, buddy? A 4 Marauder drop on the watchtower. Very good for sniping tech. And how do you describe a 4 Marauder drop versus Zergling Baneling, guys? I'm going to go with utter crap. That's my word choice for this one. They don't do much against Zerglings. Zerglings can just kind of overwhelm them with their much higher damage output. The Marauders don't really die very quickly, which is something. Starport does survive. The reactor's still up. 56 SCVs versus 85 drones. Solar's got bank. Solar coming out with ultras. His kindness plating 10 seconds away. He's going to go for it. He's not even going to wait for it. He just says, hey, I've got the numbers. Let's bloody go. Blinding Cloud on a siege tank and a ton of the bio. There's just not many Marauders in here. Even with a few snipes dropping, there's so much Ling Bane behind it. Even without the ultras, this is a disastrous position to be in. And GUMIHO getting overwhelmed. He will not be taking a 3-0. He will not be taking a 3-1. Solar is going to tie up this series at 2-2. And we are going to go to that deciding match. I don't know what map it's going to be. I have a feeling it's going to be a Zerg map, though. Because this map usually pretty decent for Terran. But winning this map is huge for Solar. It's really, really massive. And it's crazy. Normally, he beats the mech, loses to the bio, at least a fair amount of the time. In this series, it's been mech that's won 2 games, bio that's lost 2 games. But we've got to remember, you can also look at it in another way and say, really good opening that gets him a massive lead, GUMIHO wins. And standard even situations off the opening, Solar wins. And that's why I think GUMIHO is going to go for broken game 5. I really think he's already thinking about that next game, what crazy build he can pull out. He's obviously still fighting, but as SCVs Maynard into Banelings, you got to ask yourself, is he fighting for the victory or is he fighting for an honorable death? And I'll tell you what, guys, this is for an honorable death. He's an old grizzled Viking in this game, is GUMIHO, who just wants to go out and battle so that he can, of course, earn a good death and go to Valhalla. Down, but not out. And now with momentum on his side. And actually, no longer down, but out, I should say. He's got momentum on his side. He's won 2 games in a row. He's feeling unstoppable. And that's a very big confidence booster because there's got to be party that's like, GUMIHO is going to go back to a gimmick opening. He's going to go 2 Port BC or something. I think Solar might even go Overlord speed now, feeling as ahead as he is. Though I very rarely see him do it. GUMIHO in the top left, going to be going for a Barracks gas expand. And it is Babylon, which is a beautiful map for Terran, in my opinion. I'm surprised it's coming out here in Game 5 because we started on Altitude, a very good Zerg map. Though, I mean, you could argue if you wanted to play Battle Mech, maybe GUMIHO picked it. But I feel like, yeah, I don't know, it's kind of weird. That he didn't pick this earlier, I guess. If he picked, yeah, Solar picked Altitude in that first game. Oh, if you guys watching live can remind me what game map 2 and map 3 were. Because map 4 was Neo-Humanity. So I feel like GUMIHO picked map 2, which was the 3 racks on Royal Blood. And then Neo-Humanity, very good map to turtle late game on. Map 4. Yeah, I mean, that's weird. It's weird, but I guess Neo-Humanity and Royal Blood, he just enjoys a bit more than Babylon, which is just not too crazy. Those are pretty good maps. And, of course, this tells us that Solar would have vetoed... Man, I'm so rusty on my maps right now. I'm, like, getting back to it. I'm like, wait, which map would Solar have vetoed? I mean, GUMIHO vetoed, I want to call it Ascension to Aya, but I know it's not called that. Ancient Cistern, the big green map. And normally you want to get rid of a small map as the Zerg player. Something where the Terran can push you very easily. So, I feel like I'm forgetting which map we're missing. But anyway, you guys let me know in the comments. I'm sure you guys have already figured out what you think the vetoes probably were. So, let me know on that one. I'm a bit too slow to figure that out on stream. Now, this is an interesting opening, guys, because Solar has not scouted. If he came with the Overlord, he would find 3 Marines ready to snipe the Overlord. So 3 Marines before Reactor. And that's also very good if he builds like 6 Zerglings, because you can just shut it down with your 3 Marines, right? But Solar's playing super conservatively and actually not scouting that much. To the point where, who knows, maybe if there was a 3 Rex or something, he might have died. He's gone for a nice quick 3rd hatchery. He's got 2 Queens on the way, immediately spreading creep and moving Queens to the front. Zergling comes in, sees 3 Marines, goes down. Doesn't see anything else, but I think those Marines are far enough back that Solar shouldn't really be too panicked. I think he's like, oh, okay, you're hunting for Overlords, aren't you? And look at that, the Overlord had started moving off the pillar, but he saw the Marines of the Zergling, immediately puts it back on the pillar, and he gets to see the Marines. The Marines do not get to see him, because that's how things work. For those who don't know, if you're a flying unit, like if there's a plane and it flies above a hill, in real life, you can no longer see the plane. Anyone who disagrees with me, you're paid actors, who are, of course, pretending the Earth is round and not flat. So you've already lost the argument simply by being a corporate shill for big hypocrisy. I don't even know. Anyways, Queens are building. It looks like a Hellion Liberator opening for GUMIHO. The Urubus are hanging out over here. The 2 breeding Urubus, guys, my favorite. Oh, no, they're not. They're not quite breeding. They were just doing the meeting, not the mating dance, the meeting dance, just where they wave at each other excitedly. Oh, it's a 2-base all in. GUMIHO's going to go for a 2-base push on Babylon. It's a pretty good map for it, but not something I've really seen much recently on this map pool. We saw this so much last season, and we haven't seen as much of it this season, or maybe not as much success with it. I do think it's a pretty damn powerful build still, the old 2-base push. So 3 barracks coming in. I imagine it's just going to be tanks and bio behind. Wait. Is he going a Liberator to harass when he's got no Hellions? What? What? Huh? I think that's meant to be a Viking to deny scouting, I think. Okay, the Marines are going to move down here. The SCVs get put back to mining. The Liberator is going to be the slowest Overlord Hunter of all time. And at this point as Solar, you've already got so many alarm bells ringing. You're like, what is he doing? You're just like, what is this build? Like, what is happening right now? Why is there a Liberator hunting Overlords? I mean, he did build Spores, so he's playing pretty safe against it. But yeah, like, this is a bizarre style from GUMIHO, man. He's building Hellions. Is he going to drop an Armory? He's got +1 attack on the way. Is he doing a Hellbat timing? Or is it just a few Hellions in the back to add some splash damage? I'm not sure. It's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out. Liberator going across there. This is the 4th base denial Liberator. That is a Florencio Liberator, guys. Florencio will regularly do that. He'll go and siege up a Liberator to stop you from taking a base. This is friggin' hilarious. Is this like... yeah, I was going to say, is he just trying to force him to take the more exposed 4th in the bottom? No. Does end up moving that Liberator back up to the right. Combat Shields is on the way with a lot of Marines, but there's no siege tanks to back this up. So it's basically just a pack of Marines and some Hellions with +1 and shields coming across the map. And they're going to hit at a very crisp moment in the game where Bane speed is not done. But essentially, GUMIHO needs to focus these Banelings like he's Beyond. If he doesn't focus those Banelings down like he's Beyond, then he ain't going to find the damage. And this is 13 Marines with Stim. Shields and +1 is not done yet. There we go, 16 Marines now. Leaves 1 Marine behind. Liberator comes in behind the natural. That's a good bit of multi-prong. Hellions are going to try and do the dart by... The Ling Bane is ready to deal with it, of course, because they were getting lured into the main where the Queen and the Spore take out one of the Medivacs. Oh, the Spore Crawler takes out the Lib. He gets 5 drones, but that is damage which Solar's happy to take because he just shut down this attack. Look at that unit's lost tab. 3rd command center starts on location. GUMIHO going for a really cutesy opening here. But whenever you throw crazy multi-prong at Solar, he's one of the best in the world at defending it. I feel like you have to surprise him with the build order to really have a chance. And in this case, it felt like definitely Solar was on high alert. He had safety links, safety banes. He's now got that 4th base getting droned up as well as a macro hatchery, and Solar is miles ahead in this game. GUMIHO, this is the same thing that happens with Maru when he plays against Solar sometimes, where it's like you play super duper aggressive and weird crazy openings that most Zergs fall apart against, and Solar is just like, he's been playing nothing but defense in ZvT for the last 3 years. 1 in 7 games, he's like, oh, I'll do a random Bane bust. Other than that, it's just pure defense. And he's so confident and calm at defending weird, crazy multi-prong. Like, a lot of players will fall apart and miss the Liberator and lose 12 drones, or the Hellions will get a big volley on the Zerglings. It doesn't happen for Solar. And this is why I don't know if this is the right way to play against him. I feel like greedy openings generally are very good. That's what went well for him. Or going for the big 2 to 3 racks attack early on and trying to out-micro him can also go well, but these sort of multi-prong catch-you-off-guard openings, not bad to mix 1 in his series, but now we've seen 2 of them in a row not quite work out. That was good damage. Picks up, saves almost all of his units, picks off some Lings. Some more Marines and tanks moving down to that 3rd base, which is cute. 2nd factory, armory are on the way. Got the 2nd engineering bay now up, trying to limp his way into a macro game. But that is up against a Zerg, who, with these extra 6 drones popping out, is going to be fully saturated on 4 mineral lines. It's going to be a 6th. Gas guys are going up, which of course allows more Hydras and then the Hive Tech to come in. 1-1 upgrades are finishing up here as +2 starts for GUMIHO. GUMIHO's going to go Drilling Claws. He's going to start building Widow Mines, a high-value unit that could definitely get some big explosive comeback maneuvers. He's also going to move a tank into a really defensive stance back there, which is a good idea. You can tell he's setting up insurance for future run-bys. and situations where it gets messy, because he's sending 2 medevacs worth of Marines across the map. He doesn't have that many units at home. So the tanks need to be well placed. Sensor tower as well. We'll give him early warning. 4th command center is halfway done. Let's see how quick he is to remember +2 armor here. He's a little low on gas right now. Good creep spread for Solar. Solar's got map dominance right now. His infestation pit's almost finished. Burrow's on the way. Solar's not going to just sit on lair tech the way sometimes Rainer or Dark will do, where they just look for the big timing attack. That's one way GUMIHO could get back in it, is if Solar just goes for a big YOLO and the tanks get some really good shots off. 3 more barracks are now on the way for GUMIHO. That Zergling runs in, sees a lot of Marines and tanks there. And Marines now going to clear up some creep. He tries to lure the army to the bottom so these Marines can stim in the north. There's no units nearby. Could do okay. I like that the Widow Mines are trying to get out here and set up. That drop in the north still waiting. You can tell GUMIHO's waiting for the right moment. Really wants to get Solar occupied down here in the bottom left first. But Hive's on the way. Lurkaden's on the way. Solar setting up to try and break this position. The Marines a bit too far away from the Widow Mines and tanks. The moment you pick up with those Marines, he's going to run north. And that's why GUMIHO realizes he needs to do something to distract. He dives in the north side. He's like, okay, I got to keep you defensive right now. He's going to get like a drone, an Overlord, a couple Zerglings. Nothing crazy here, but oh, actually, no, the Lings are further away than I realized. And they're kind of trickling into the meat grinder. A very, very essential engagement there for GUMIHO. Might be essential? What do you mean? I mean, he's touching himself while thinking about trades like that. That's what I'm saying. GUMIHO now ahead about 1,400 resources in the units lost tab. He's got the tech labs coming up. 5th command center building in a very exposed location, but he's got tanks spread out there. He's starting to spread more Widow Mines. He's got a drop on the top, a drop on the bot, and oh my god, that's a lot of Widow Mines. His bio count's a little low though. GUMIHO needs to max out. He's not building bio right now, guys. This is a classic GUMIHO mistake where he's tunnel visioning on his tactics. He's forgotten to max out. He needs to build a lot more Marines right now. He's only got 40 Marines. He can build some more of those, as well as some more Marauders. These Widow Mines on their own could just be defused by a handful of Zerglings. So that's a very important thing. Big thanks to Zombie Grub for the raid. Welcome, zombies. Appreciate the love, guys. We'll give you guys some shout-outs in just a minute. Oh, double drop in the north side comes on in. Gonna pick off a couple of creep tumors moving on that top side. Banelings, Hydras, and Zerglings coming in on top of it. Nice pickup though. GUMIHO's getting good value, and it feels like he's navigated the scariest part of this game. I say that. Look at that Baneling count. Oh, and as I said, no support for the Widow Mines. You need to have bio. Widow Mines on their own are not good units, guys. And I know the Terran players will complain about friendly fire, but you're absolutely wrong. Friendly fire happens when you are not supporting them correctly. GUMIHO's got 32 Marines out of position. 16 in the bottom, 16 in the top. The rest of his army wasn't there, and he just lost 6 or 7 Widow Mines without getting much value, and that is purely because they were not supported. The Marines now need to group up and get back in these medevacs. Looks like that's not going to happen until a bit too late. Saves a couple of them. He's going to just try and sacrifice past into the main base. Maybe get a few drones from the ledge or something like that. Queens are on the case, though. They'll shut it down. GUMIHO, he's swapping into Ghost. So I think he's kind of okay trading these Marines away. You don't want to just chuck them into the meat grinder. But he's definitely looking all right. Now, this base down here is always a mistake. You should always take this 5th base in the north. We've seen a lot of Terran players make this error. The problem is, how do you defend this base? Well, if you move into this open area, you're in a wide open area. Now, if you can defend there, arguably that is a very good spot. You've got to be wary that Zerg can rotate to the north as well. So you need a few Hellbats or a full wall off with those tanks. And you need to really focus your defense here. Don't put all your units in front of the ledge or out in these open areas. Put them in this area where the Zerg has to attack around the corners. Lings, Banes, Hydras, you can see, yeah. Solar's like, well, I don't want to fight into that scenario. Let's make sure you're spread out before I do this. Ghosts, I believe they sniped a few Zerglings there. And here we go. It's a lot of Ling Bane running forward. But pre-spread bio automatically trades pretty well versus this. As long as he's got enough to not get completely broken. Oh, the surround! GUMIHO had a shabby start to this game. Watch me being child-friendly. Thank me, parents of people with kids watching. Shabby start to this game, but he turns it around and is now in a pretty good scenario. His trading's been solid. He's 3,000 resources more efficient so far. The Marines here are doing a lot of damage to this hatchery. Big army going down the south side. Lingbane Hydra coming on in. A little bit clumped up is GUMIHO right now, but he's got that ledge, and that ledge makes it a scary spot for Zerg to engage. But, uh-oh, Uh-oh, Ling's find the north side. He's got to get, like I said, you got to leave some Hellbats up there or something like that. Oh, it's Solar, as he pulls the army forward, tries to capitalize. GUMIHO with some pretty good stutter step, though. And it looks like those Zerglings do get defended on that north. GUMIHO's hanging on, but the thing is, he just lost a lot of his siege tanks. You got to be really careful. GUMIHO's just F2ing a little bit too much. If I had to describe his problem here, it's the same problem every Terran has other than Maru, in that they're F2ing. Oh, this is a disaster. Taking this base is the worst decision you could make. Once you've committed to the bottom left, you need to focus most of your defenses down here. If you take this base, what you're doing is you're presenting an easy target for Solar to spread you way too thin and get an easy victory. We've seen so many Terran players make this mistake, guys. Don't get me wrong, there's one way you win from here as GUMIHO, and that's turtling up and surviving. Your opponent doesn't really have that much high tech. You've got to turtle up and survive. He does have lurkers now coming in on the south, but look at this. The moment you move the army in the north, guess who wins this trade? Terran is going to lose it every single time because SCVs can't get out of there as quick as the drones can evacuate. And this base is just not as important. Now, we could argue it's going to allow him to focus on the northern base, which is a better and easier base to defend. But yeah, you just should not be trying to expand to two extremely distant fronts. You should take this base and then this base, or take this base and then this base, though I know that's a little bit crazier. You really want to focus your units. Even better, don't take that base yet and just give yourself a bit more time to build up the ghost count and counter the lurkers with that, rebuild those siege tanks and all that sort of thing. So I do think GUMIHO made a mistake there, but we've seen the best in the game make that error many times. Lingbane Hydra coming on in, seeing what he can get. The Planetary Fortress, it's going to finish, but it's already surrounded by Lingbane. A lot of Banelings do blow up on that command center. It's not a good trade cost for the Zerg, but it doesn't matter because you've already killed his fifth. Now you've killed his new fifth base. He's going to have to lift his main out there. GUMIHO realizing this is a very hard situation to be in. He's going to attack with his whole army deep on creep. And I'll tell you what Banelings love in StarCraft, guys. That is fighting on creep. If a Terran player is kind enough to fight on creep, they'll be very happy. That lurker is going to come in behind the mineral line, try and pick off some of these, but it's actually in range of the planetary. So it's not going to be hitting SCVs unless you target it. There we go. By clicking on the gas, you can see the splash damage is going right into the mineral line. Oh, abduct on the right side. Gets a tank, but some snipes taking out some overseers. One of the lurkers went down as well. Oh, man. GUMIHO's got to move that tank forward and scan it. I don't know if you can kill it in a single... Oh, he scans it. Now you're out of range. Oh, GUMIHO. Oh, he doesn't want to move the tank. The thing is, the lurker could still shuffle out of range even here if Solar's watching. Lurkers on the right side are pushing forward there. A single tank and two ghosts is not really going to punish this move that well. Gets a few snipes, two lurkers go down. Luckily, the turret finished, so the siege tank can take out that one on the left. But on the top right, the lurker Lingbane Hydra comes in. A big engagement for Solar, who is just relentless. I don't know if the trades are directly good, but each time he takes out ghosts and tanks, it becomes like, oh god, I have less and less of a counter to these lurkers. The ghosts come forward, they're big snipes for GUMIHO. GUMIHO's going hard right now. Double lib in the south side, gets 8-9 drones, and he shuts down the army in the north. Remember that the longer this game goes, the more Solar's going to run out of resources. He needs these two middle bases. He needs them desperately. He's got a Spore Crawler on the bottom. The Liberator's going to queue up. They're going to come right back in. These two drones went back to mining, but it is not safe at work. It is not bring your kids to work day. It's an active war zone, mate. It's not a good idea. Oh, Nidus in the main base. Nidus in the main base, but he's distracted. GUMIHO's eyeballs. Not focused right now. Not calm. Oh no, he can even see the Overseer, but he's just not noticing it. Two big red dots in the main base. But it turns out maybe Villa or someone took over bloody his game because there is no red dot. The game's bugged. Lurkers do pop out, but you know what? Pretty quick response. If Solar doesn't dive on the front at the same time, this might work out. This might actually work out. The Lurkers go down and the Nidus and 13 drone kills. The Liberators did fall in the bottom, but Solar didn't attack the front at the same time. He could have jumped on and killed this base. I think that's a big mistake for Solar to commit so many lurkers in there. And then when he F2s back to deal with it, to not respond by jumping on this exposed expansion. Solar just missed out on what could have been a game-ending maneuver, but now we are still looking at a Terran that is up 20 supply. 3-3 upgrades are there for Terran. For Zerg, you've got good range upgrades coming in. He's going to get +3 range. He's already got +3 carapace. +3 melee is almost finished. Adrenal Glands was done ages ago. A single Infestor comes out. Just one little slug boy. Going to try and wriggle his way forwards and drop some fungal all over those ghosts. If you guys are Zerg players, you probably see ghosts as a little bit of a disease. And the antidote to that disease often is the fungal of the Infestor. Locking them in place, damaging them over 4 seconds so they can't use snipe. It'll get interrupted even if they've started channeling it. And it'll mess them right up. Lingbane Hydra coming in the left side. Going for the Marauder drop again. GUMIHO seems to enjoy that one. This base is a bit too exposed. Great move for Solar. Says there's no sensor tower down here. I know he's going to be focused on that weaker base. It's not a planetary in the top. 15, 18, 20 SCVs go down and gets the base. And now you've got an angry GUMIHO who's going to chase you across the map. Gets a few Hydras and Banes. Not bad. Good trade for Gumi, but that top base is now wide open for a Ling run by. It's just got a few tanks and a Widow Mine. And if you commit with just your Bio Ghost off creep, you're going to have a hard time. Oh, the Ling's dragging a little bit of that tank fire into the mineral line. They do burrows so they can be used later. Snipes going down. A couple of Hydras get popped. Some of them do escape. Infesta, oh my god. Fungal boy, fungal boy, fungal boy. The Zergling does unburrow in the mineral line. Bit of a distraction. He's keeping GUMIHO busy. And guess what? A Terran who's busy starts to get all frazzled and clumps his army up. F2, F2, F2. Fungal boy and F2. Oh, name a more iconic duo than Fungal boy and F2. Fungal boy. Fungal boy. He's waiting for it. Solar's looking for the big juicy. He's a little close. He might get one shot before he actually gets the fungal off here. But he is looking for that army to clump up. The scan doesn't see him. The Nidus blocking that base from landing. GUMIHO still has a giant army supply lead and technically could win the game. But being as clumped as he is very scary. The Infestor sees the army move north. The Sensor Tower also sees the edge of it. I mean, GUMIHO's like aware. He's like, I see this. I see you. Scans up there. Oh, good. No. Careful, mate. Careful. The Lings go for a big surround on the Ghosts. A tank gets abducted from the high ground. The Ghosts, oh, he picks up some of them. Okay, good survive there by GUMIHO. A lot of Link Bane crashes in, and the units lost tab looks terrible for Solar, but the income looks terrible for GUMIHO. GUMIHO's down at less than half the mineral income right now. Solar can afford to have a terrible income tab as long as he doesn't let GUMIHO get any new bases. Oh, that was a bad fight for Solar. Solar's got a lot more Lings building and Hydras, but not many Banes right now. Goes in for a run by Orbital Lifts, a couple Liberators and a Siege Tank. Going to take care of a lot of the Zerglings, but not all of them, and that means his third mineral line is in a dicey situation. Top right base goes down, so he's going to get one of the Zerg hatcheries. The Zergling... Oh, no, No, GUMIHO! He lives in time, just barely. He thought the tank-friendly fire was going to do it. Nidus Worm in the main gets taken out. Lings in the top side are going to find another mineral line, the most important mineral line. The final mineral line. That's not how that song goes. Bio trying to pull back more Banelings that GUMIHO wants to be looking at right now. He actually takes most of them out. But man, he lost the 20 SCVs behind while defending. And that's the 1-2 punch that Solar needed to do and should have done earlier with the previous Nidus Worm. The way he just pulled his attention away at the front, forced him to focus everything on holding on. And it's like, wow, those Banes didn't connect. That's a good fight for Terran. You look back, the Terran's mining is completely decimated, and you go, oh yeah, wait a second. Income tab, that's what Solar is gaining from all of these, you know, quote-unquote bad trades. He's down 16,000 resources and units lost. But you know what? As a Zerg, you butt up against that supply cap. You need to use the supply-efficient, yet cost-inefficient Baneling. You need to try to mine more of the map out to make up for that cost inefficiency. The Zergling on Burrow in the north is going to hamstring GUMIHO's already very, very bad economy. I don't think hamstring is a strong enough word. He already hamstrung him. Now he's hamstrung him on the other leg. And now he's just hacking his bloody arm off. GUMIHO's economy is hanging on by a bloody thread. He's spurting blood out of where his limbs used to be. He's saying, no, 'tis but a flesh wound. Solar says, mate, I'll show you flesh wound as the Lurker Lingbane Hydra Horde comes on forward. Parasitic Bomb on the Medivacs. And yeah, this is GUMIHO with one last squad of Bio Ghost. The Medivacs are getting blasted by that Parasitic Bomb. I think he thought it was about to expire, and it was not. And 3 more Fungal Boys are arriving at the front, ready to pop up and drop their viral load all over the face of these guys. Liberator's coming forward. GUMIHO's desperately trying to hang on this 84 army supply. He needs every single unit to be Arnold Schwarzenegger with friggin', you know, Jean-Claude Van Damme strapped to his back. But I think, unfortunately for him, this is an entire army of Steven Seagals. And I mean, yeah, they run exactly like Steven Seagal runs. They fight like he does with their Aikido. And unfortunately, Solar laughs in the face of these dregs of the army. And they pull backwards, the Lurkers, the Lings, Banes, Hydras, shoving their way forwards and just absolutely smashing it. Look at this, even Burrowed Zerglings on the left side denying that command center from landing. And remember, this is a reversal. GUMIHO had amazing build order advantages in Game 1 and Game 2 that he carried through to convincing victories. He was up 2-0. But Solar, I said at the start of the series, I'm surprised that this got recommended to me because Solar is always the predator of GUMIHO. GUMIHO always has good games with him, but just very rarely actually beats him. And Solar, once again, from the brink of defeat, clutches back a victory and says, GUMIHO, I am still going to remain your nemesis. GG, well played.